A stranger with a camera knew my family's secret before I did. She phoned me the way doctors give bad news, soft, careful, and asking if I was alone. By the time I saw the extra wedding photos, I'd already paid for the cake, the flowers, and my own humiliation. My name is Evelyn. I'm 67 years old, and until that call, I thought my biggest problem was that my knees complained louder than my grown children ever said thank you. That morning was peaceful in the way retired mornings are supposed to be. Sunlight on the kitchen tiles, kettle humming, the little radio muttering some song from the 80s. I just sat down with my coffee and the local paper, pretending I cared about city council elections, when my phone buzzed across the table. Unknown number, out-of-town area code. Normally, I let those go to voicemail. At my age, unknown number usually means someone wants to fix a computer I don't own or tell me my extended car warranty has expired. But something in my chest nudged me, so I answered. "Hello, this is Evelyn. Mrs. Hart?" A woman's voice, soft and tight, like she was squeezing it through a narrow door. "This is Mara Lewis. I was the photographer at your daughter's wedding last month." I straightened. My gaze flicked to the framed photo on the sideboard. Clara in lace and tulle, Adam in his tailored suit, the two of them frozen mid-laugh under strings of fairy lights. Everyone said the picture looked like something from a magazine. They didn't know what it cost. "Good morning," I said. "Is something wrong with the album? Did the files not upload? Clara has been asking." "That's why I'm calling," Mara cut in, lowering her voice. "Mrs. Hart, I saw something while finishing the edits. I'm not comfortable sending everything through without speaking to you first." My companions tightened around the mug. "What kind of something?" A breath. "I really don't want to explain this over the phone," she said. "Could you come to my studio? Today, if possible? And I strongly suggest you come alone. Please don't bring Clara. And don't mention this to her yet." Terry words, the doctor's voice. Not the words, just the tone. Careful, bracing. From the hallway, I could hear the faint thump of some bass-heavy song and my younger daughter's laugh, too loud for 9 in the morning. Tyler, her boyfriend, was supposed to my television again, between jobs, for the 3rd year in a row. "What exactly did you find?" I asked. "If there's a problem with the photos, Clara can handle it. This seems about focus or lighting," she whispered. "It's personal, sensitive, for your family. I think you need to see it before she does." My anger did that strange double beat it developed after my husband died. Not panic, just a warning thump. "All right," I said. "Where's your studio?" She gave me an address downtown, your board building, top floor. "Can you make it around 11? "I'll be there," I said. "Thank you. And Mrs. Hart, I'm very sorry." Hoping ton. Chris searching at my reflection in the doctor door. Puffed, graying hair I kept to tobacco again, the Democratic long and kids around my mouth, the face of a woman who'd written a check with too many zipper for a wedding everyone called magical. Something alone. Zoe appeared like, what time it is? I have a hair appointment in an hour and my car is literally dying. Tyler says the brakes and making a weird news again. Tick coach is in behind her, shirtless, yawning, already reaching for the fridge. It's like grinding, who's speaking conversing me our orange juice. Kinda dangerous. We suppose driving your cyber towards every said, we, the words about oxygen. I can't keep driving that thing, Zoe watching on, dropping into the chair across from me. Everyone at the salon has nicer cars. I look like I'm pulling up in a retirement home shuttle. You speaking weather this after Clara's wedding. Well, The wedding is over. Sister crying like a court case, the soup dressed covering in my hand.
When Zoe and Tyler moved into my house temporarily after his third layoff, I told myself it was what mothers do. My husband had been gone 2 years. The silence in the evenings hurt. I'd spent 40 years building a small bakery business, from 1 shop to 4 locations. I was used to being the one who rescued, who stepped in, who wrote the check. Let the kids breathe, I thought. Let them reset. A few months. That was 3.5 years ago. I have an appointment downtown at 11, I said, hearing how careful my voice suddenly sounded. We'll talk about the car later. Zoe blinked. Since when do you have downtown appointments? Since this morning. With who? With someone who doesn't plan on drinking all my orange juice, I said, as Tyler took a swig from the carton. He grinned. We're just asking for a little help, Evelyn. Younger people have it harder these days. Gig economy, inflation, all that. I'd heard that speech so many times, I could have lip-synced it. Behind them, the framed wedding photo watched us. Clara's wide smile, Adam's hand at the small of her back. The canvas print had arrived yesterday, still wrapped in plastic, leaning in my hallway. The whole thing had cost me almost $60,000. Venue, dress, band. You only get married once, Mom, Clara had said, even though that wasn't statistically true. Let me feel like a princess for 1 day. Apparently, the princess package included indefinite support for the court jester and his girlfriend down the hall. My phone buzzed. A text from Clara. Morning! Did Mara send you the link to the photos yet? I'm dying to post some. I stared at it longer than necessary. No, I typed. She's still working on them. Technically not a lie. I stood, ignoring the pop in my knee. I need to get dressed. There's casserole in the fridge if you're hungry. We already ate that, Zoe said. It was kind of dry, by the way. We were thinking sushi tonight if you... Later, I said, walking out before I heard what else I was apparently financing now. In my bedroom, I shut the door and leaned against it. Muffled music thumped down the hall. Tyler rummaged through my cabinets like they were his birthright. In the mirror, I saw the same woman, the same house, but something felt thinner. What could possibly be in those photos? I dressed more carefully than necessary. Nice blouse, navy slacks Clara bought so I'd look less like a school librarian. Old flats that didn't anger my back. Mara's voice replayed in my head. I don't want to explain this over the phone. You need to see it before she does. I'm very sorry. At 10:30, I grabbed my purse. Zoe's car, my old Civic, was crooked in the driveway. Tyler's rusted pickup blocked half the sidewalk. When I stepped into the hall, Zoe called from the couch. Where are you going? Can you drop me near the mall? I really need, I told you, appointment. Ask Tyler to drive you. He hates driving in town, she said. And it's your car. Why are you being weird? Maybe I've earned the right to be weird, I said, stepping outside. We'll talk later. She scoffed. Fine. Don't be surprised when my car dies on the highway and you feel guilty. I closed the door before she could weaponize guilt any further. The drive downtown took 20 minutes. I knew the building. Renovated warehouse, exposed brick, huge windows. The kind Clara's friends used for photo shoots they didn't pay for. As I circled for parking, my stomach tightened. Coffee on empty stomach, I told myself. But my hands stayed tight on the wheel. Wedding photos. What could be that serious? Someone drunk? A wardrobe slip? A dumb relative near the bar. Families survived worse. I'd certainly survived worse at my own wedding when my father tried to dance after 4 whiskeys. But Mara hadn't sounded like someone worried about a photobomb. I parked, breathed, and looked up at the 4-story brick building. Sunlit windows, backdrops, plants. Ordinary. My phone buzzed again. Clara. Any updates? Clara. Adam's parents already got their preview link. Of course they had. I typed, "Meeting Mara now." I climbed the stairs, every step echoing, and walked to the door with her name printed on frosted glass. My hand hovered above the handle.
I knew, the way you sometimes know a storm is coming just from the way the air tastes, that whatever waited on the other side of that door was going to rearrange more than just the way I looked at a few photographs. I took a breath, turned the handle, and stepped into the studio, just as Mara spun her monitor around and said quietly, "Mrs. Hart, I need you to see this." Mara's studio smelled faintly of coffee and printer ink, the kind of scent that makes you feel something precise is happening. She stood beside the monitor, hands clasped too tightly, shoulders raised like she expected me to shatter. "Please sit," she said. I didn't. I stepped closer, resting my palm on the back of the chair. My heart wasn't racing, but each beat felt slow and heavy, as if my body already knew the shape of what was coming. On the screen was a folder labeled, "Heart Wedding Private." Not preview. Not final. Private. She opened it before I could ask. The first image appeared. Not the ceremony. Not Clara in her gown or Adam wiping a fake tear. It was a hallway, dim yellow lights, catering staff setting up glassware, a door left slightly open, and 2 people pressed together like they'd been carved from one piece of stone. A man's suit jacket, a woman's red dress, his hand on her waist, her fingers curled into his collar, bright auburn hair. I didn't recognize the woman, but I recognized the man. I would have recognized the back of that suit anywhere. I had paid for it. Adam, my son-in-law, holding another woman 2 hours before he held my daughter at the altar. My breath didn't leave me in one gasp. It seeped out in pieces like air slipping from a cracked window. The timestamp glowed in the corner. 2:11 p.m. The ceremony started at 4. I don't remember sitting down, but suddenly the chair was under me and Mara was hovering like she expected me to faint. "I didn't go looking," she whispered. "I was adjusting exposure through a side window."
I didn't even realize I'd captured that. "Show me the next one," I said. She hesitated, then clicked. The second image was closer. Adam's face visible now, eyes shut, mouth buried in the woman's neck, like the world beyond them didn't exist. The woman clung to him like she owned him. Mara clicked again. The woman's hand was visible, gold ring, cluster of stones, nails painted deep burgundy. Not Clara's color. I stared, silent, my throat tight but my eyes dry. Grief had burned out my tear ducts years ago. "How many photos?" 7, Mara said. "All taken within about a minute." She clicked through them like delivering cuts to a wound. Frame 4, the woman laughing, hand on his chest. Frame 5, Adam glancing around. Frame 6, her smoothing the collar he'd rumpled. Frame 7, their fingers intertwined as they stepped apart, polished, composed, ready to pretend to be bride and groom. The final timestamp, 2:12 p.m. Clara was upstairs FaceTiming me about her misbehaving veil at that exact moment. "Mrs. Hart," Mara whispered. "I wanted to tell Clara, but it should be you." I didn't answer. Something else in the last photo caught my eye. The woman's clutch purse. Pale beige leather, embossed monogram. KF. Those 2 letters hit harder than the kiss. KF, I murmured. "Do you recognize it?" Mara asked. My mind flicked through names, bridesmaids, nieces, college friends. No K. But there had been one late edition guest I'd never met. Adam's cousin from Oregon. A woman named Kara Fulton. Late arrival, early exit. Avoided photos because she was shy. Now my stomach turned. Kara, I whispered. Her name was Kara. Do you think that's her? I don't think, I said. I know. I remembered the seating chart. Kara placed not with family, but with Adam's co-workers. Strange then. Clear now. I exhaled, the sound unfamiliar. Mara offered tissues. I didn't take one. I need all of these photos, I said. They're on this drive. She slid a flash drive toward me. Metadata too, if you ever need proof. Proof. The word echoed like a slammed door. I'm sorry, she whispered. I've never seen anything like this. It's not your fault, I said, my voice tight. Some photographers would have deleted them, she added. Thank you for not doing that. She nodded. Let me know if you need anything. I stood, placing the drive in my purse. My hands didn't shake, though my knuckles were white. At the door, I paused. Mara, don't release Clara's album yet. Of course. And if anyone asks why I was here, I'll say nothing. I nodded. Good. When I stepped into the hallway, the building felt colder. The sunlight felt too bright, too honest. I stood at the railing, staring down the stairs. Adam. 2 hours before promising forever. With a woman who wasn't my daughter. And the worst part? I wasn't surprised. Not all the way. Something about that boy had unsettled me for months. Something too rehearsed in his smile, too polished in his public affection. But love blinds parents in the ugliest ways. Or hope does. I descended the stairs, each step heavier than the last. Outside, the sun was unforgiving. Cars passed, horns honked. Life continued for people who hadn't just discovered their daughter married a liar. My phone buzzed. Zoe, are you bringing lunch? Tyler wants tacos. I locked the phone. I drove home slowly, gripping the wheel like it might slip from my hands. By the time I turned onto my street, I still hadn't cried. Crying requires confusion. I wasn't confused. Pulling into the driveway, I saw Tyler lounging on my porch chair with his shoes on the cushion, scrolling on his phone. He didn't look up as I passed. Zoe's inside, he said. She's mad you didn't answer her.
I paused, staring at the top of his unbothered head. Not today. I stepped over the threshold, letting the cool air swallow me. The hallway smelled faintly of Tyler's cologne, cheap, sharp, overstaying its welcome. Zoe appeared a moment later, wearing one of my sweaters I hadn't seen in a year. What took you so long? I told you I needed the car for my appointment. And why weren't you answering? She didn't look at my face, my posture, my eyes, nothing. She looked at my hands, my purse, as if searching for shopping bags she could claim. I told you, I said, steady. I had a meeting. With who? Why are you being secretive? Mom, seriously. I'm going to my room, I said. We'll talk later. She scoffed. Unbelievable. Tyler's voice drifted in. Ask her if she picked up taco sauce. I shut my bedroom door. I didn't scream or pace or crumble. I sat at my vanity and looked at my reflection. A woman who built a business from scratch, buried a husband, raised 2 daughters who barely remembered she existed before them, paid for a wedding that was apparently nothing more than a costume party for Adam and his secret lover. I opened my purse, pulled out the flash drive, placed it in my palm. Too small for something that heavy. A knock. Mom? Zoe's voice. Are you okay? You look weird. I'm fine. You sure? Because Tyler said,
I said I'm fine. Silence. Then, are you still making dinner? I haven't decided. Another pause, then she walked away. And for the first time in years, something unfamiliar settled into my bones. Resolve. Not anger, not sadness, not heartbreak. Resolve. I placed the flash drive into my desk drawer and closed it, then whispered to the empty room. Time to find out what else I've been blind to. Little did I know, the photos were only the beginning. The real betrayal hadn't even revealed itself yet. And it wouldn't come from Adam, but from my own daughters. That night, sleep didn't escape me. It simply informed me it had other plans. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every interaction with Adam. The polite smile, the perfect manners, the way he called me Miss Evelyn, even after I told him not to. There is something suspicious about people who are respectful only when they want something. Around 3, the house finally quieted. Zoe and Tyler had fought about who should put empty soda cans in the recycling. The cans would sit there until I threw them out anyway. I wrapped myself in a robe and walked into the living room. The wedding canvas leaned against the wall like it had been waiting. Adam's smile looked faker in the dark. I stared at it, then turned the frame face down. In the kitchen, the kettle hissed softly. I made tea, not thinking about next steps yet, just letting my mind breathe. But as I stirred honey into my mug, a thought crept in. If Adam was comfortable enough to kiss another woman 2 hours before the wedding, then whatever Clara thought she had wasn't real. And worse, if she didn't know, she was about to break. I closed my eyes. I loved Clara, even when she was bossy, entitled, or forgot my birthday twice. Even when she told me the engagement cake I baked was sweet but not Instagram-worthy. She was still my daughter. Still the little girl stealing almonds from my baking jars. Still the teenager crying into my shoulder after her first heartbreak. Still the bride who looked at me with joy and certainty on her wedding morning. How was I supposed to tell her that her new life was built on a lie? My phone buzzed. Clara, Mom, dinner with Adam's parents tomorrow night. Don't forget. And save June 21st for our housewarming tour. Housewarming. The irony tasted bitter. I didn't reply. Not yet. The next morning, the sun sliced through the blinds when I woke. Exhaustion clung to me like a second skin. Down the hall, Zoe and Tyler were arguing again, this time about laundry. It's your turn. I did it last week. You literally didn't. Oh my God, you're such a nag.
I shut the bedroom door harder than necessary. Then I changed clothes, grabbed my purse, and headed for the kitchen. Zoe stood there with her arms crossed, looking theatrical. Mom, can we talk? She asked, tone dripping with forced concern. You came home yesterday all weird, like colder than usual. I opened the fridge and pulled out yogurt. Everything is fine, I said. She leaned closer. I don't think it is. I know you. You're off. I paused. You know me? I said, turning slightly. That's interesting. Because yesterday you didn't ask how my meeting went. You asked if I was bringing lunch. Zoe blinked, confused why that mattered. Well, yeah, because Tyler was starving and… Zoe, I said calmly. Not today. Her eyebrows shot up. The same look she had at 14 when I told her glitter nails weren't school appropriate. What's that supposed to mean? It means, I said slowly, that not every moment
is about you." Real shock flickered across her face. Tyler walked in then, shirtless again, scratching his stomach like a bored bear. "What's for breakfast?" he asked. I stared at him. "Whatever you can make." Zoe gasped softly, like I'd slapped the Pope. "Mom, are you feeling okay? You're being rude." "Rude?" I almost laughed. "No," I said. "For once, I'm being honest." Then I picked up my keys and walked out the door. I drove without a destination. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from leaving the house where you're being drained. I passed my old bakery, now run by a younger couple, and saw a line of people waiting for cinnamon rolls. It made me oddly emotional, not sad, just aware. Aware that there was a world outside my daughter's needs and Tyler's hunger for my resources. After 30 minutes, I ended up at a small park near the river. Families coached dogs, elderly couples strolled. Life felt peaceful and unbothered. I sat on a bench and playful today, the flash drive. Such a small thing to hold so much truth. I thought about the police, about showing Clara right away, about marching into Adam's office and slapping him. Instead, I called my sister Joan. She lived 2 states away and had always been more direct than me. Years ago, she warned me I was raising my daughters to depend on me instead of life. I threats her off. Maybe she had been right. She contacted on the 3rd ring. "Well, if it isn't my favorite workaholic turned worrier, what's going on?" I inhaled. "Joan, I found something, scoring about Clara's wedding." Her tone shifted instantly. "What happened?" Peter dating. The photo, the words, the contrary, the temperatures. She didn't interrupt once. From a long pause, then teaching.com, calmly, "Evelyn, sweetheart, you'll need a lawyer." I blinked. "A lawyer? Why?" "Because this isn't just cheating. This man let your daughter marry him whilst carrying Scott at the father right before the conspiracy. Discretion fraud, depending on what he honeymoon flights. Didn't he ask for help with their alcohol deposit? Honey, this stinks." The words quiet like cold water. "I hadn't words cooking you that." "Of course," Joan said. "Can spouses, supposed to the best in their citizens' options until the author is of capital of an exhaled security." "At Educale?" "Yes." "This isn't Clara's fault. Mourning that. Remember that. Very, very excited. Because Kuntu. Now, and that Voser, that Perester. Zephyr, Joan covering. You're closing, who's covering, consoon. Clara, she deserves the truth." We said the river, Donor's words echoing. This wasn't patterns. And when I returned, Zoe and Tony were on the couch watching Recording Privacy, surrounded by snack wrappers that hadn't existed with your setbacks. Pictures closing covering. Toys defending but supporting, looking. Interesting. Score she narrated over advice with our coaching coping. With walked past them, as I went to my office, made a list. 1. Joan 2. Organize Clara sacrificing. Tommed, covering corengenments. That exact tops, the class 4 using Zoe lived with me. 4 years covering, 4 years with courage research from Tyler's. 4 years of their wrath, noise, confidence, capendence, my opinion. Outside, laugh covering this tooth your curiosity, maintained, cleaned, and questions. Forever years. So books watching, coaching, eternity. I circled your 4 hard.
Clara, Mom? Why aren't you replying? Clara. Adam wants to know if you're joining us for dinner with his parents tonight. Dinner? With Adam? Tonight? My stomach tightened. Before I could overthink it, I typed me yes. I'll be there. Clara's reply came instantly. Clara. Great. Dress nice, Mom. Adam's parents invited friends too. Oh, I would dress nice. But not for the reason they thought. A quiet, dangerous calm settled into me. If Adam wanted to play pretend, fine. But I had the truth in my desk drawer. And tonight he was going to feel the weight of it. But little did I know, something much darker was happening behind my back. And the clue would come from someone I trusted least. I didn't dress nice. I dressed strategically. A navy dress I saved for funerals. Pearl earrings my husband bought me. Hair pulled back, no softness. The outfit of a woman done pretending. By 6 I was ready. Zoe and Tyler were still sprawled on the couch with a pizza box. Zoe took in my outfit and frowned. Are you going somewhere fancy? Yes. With who? People who don't track sauce across my rugs, I said. Tyler blinked. Was that a joke? No, I said, closing the door. The restaurant the dinner was at a quiet Italian place the Fishers liked. Dim lighting, white tablecloths, the kind of restaurant where water is offered before greetings. Adam's parents were already seated. His mother, Diane, stood and hugged me like she was auditioning for a part she didn't understand. Oh, Evelyn, sweetheart, so glad you made it. Sweetheart. Her perfume was strong enough to sting my eyes. His father, Greg, stayed seated, nodding with the detached amusement of someone allergic to emotional investment. Clara sat beside Adam, truly glowing in that new wife haze. Mom, over here. She waved. I forced a smile and took the empty chair across from them. Adam smiled too, the same polished smile from the wedding photos. The same smile he wore 2 hours after kissing another woman behind a catering. But tonight I didn't smile back. Not even a little. Everything okay, Evelyn? Adam asked, his voice syrup smooth. Yes, I said. Quite. He blinked, thrown off. Good. A server approached to take drink orders. Everyone ordered wine except Adam. He chose sparkling water with lime. Saving face. Keeping sharp. Trying to look like the sensible one. I wondered if Kara drank wine. If she preferred red or white. If she liked her men obedient or simply dishonest. Clara launched straight into chatter. Mom, guess what? Adam and I are touring another house this weekend. This one has an actual chef's kitchen. You'll faint when you see it. Her voice bubbled with hope. Hope she didn't know was built on someone else's lies. A small ache pressed at the inside of my ribs, but I tucked it away. Tonight wasn't about aching. It was about observing, listening, learning. And I got my first lesson sooner than expected. #a slip. Diane, too talkative, too cheerful, leaned forward with a conspiratorial smile. Evelyn, darling, Adam showed us the other wedding gallery yesterday. The candid ones Mara sent to the family group? Oh my goodness, that woman is talented. My blood stilled. Mara sent another gallery? Adam stiffened, just barely, and shot his mother a warning look. Clara perked up. Wait, what gallery? Oh, sweetheart, Diane chirped. The second batch. The one with all the funny behind-the-scenes photos. Adam said he didn't want to bother you with it yet because you'd been busy. Busy? The only thing I'd been busy with was discovering the biggest betrayal my daughter had ever faced. I folded my hands in my lap so no one noticed them tighten. Adam, I said softly, you got an early gallery? He cleared his throat. Oh, yeah, just some test shots. Nothing important. Lie. A bold, stupid lie. Clara looked confused. Why wouldn't you show me? Because, Adam placed a hand on her arm. I wanted to wait until everything was final.
Details. Such a harmless word for something that wasn't harmless at all. I took a sip of water to hide my expression. So, Adam knew Mara had more photos, which meant he saw the risk, which meant he was hiding something much larger than I thought. The server returned with wine. As glasses clinked lightly around the table, I caught Adam's mother staring at me, not with suspicion, but with that patronizing pity older women reserve for each other when they think one of them is unraveling. "Honey," she said, lowering her voice, "are you feeling all right tonight? You're quiet." I gave her a polite smile. "I'm listening." "Oh, darling." She reached across the table and patted my hand. A mistake. "Sometimes listening too much leads to misunderstandings." There it was, the warning, the subtext. Be quiet, Evelyn. Don't disrupt the image. Don't look too closely. I slid my hand back. "Sometimes," I said, "misunderstandings happen when people hide the truth." Adam's glass paused halfway to his lips. Clara blinked between us. "What truth?" I looked at her, at the hope, the innocence, the belief in her eyes, and for a brief, excruciating second, I almost told her everything. At that table, in front of them all. But pain lands harder in public, and Clara deserved better than a spectacle. So I swallowed the confession. "My truth," I said instead. "Health things, stress, nothing for you to worry about yet." Yet. Her hand found mine under the table and squeezed. My poor girl. She thought she was comforting me. Adam, on the other hand, looked immeasurably relieved, which made him stupid, because a relieved man is careless. Halfway through the meal, Diane pulled out her phone to show me photos of a vacation rental they were considering. Greg chimed in about investments. Clara chatted about the dream kitchen. Adam began explaining his work shift schedule. And then he said it, without thinking, without guarding himself. "And of course, I had to take Kara to the airport the morning after the wedding. She's terrible at booking return flights, I swear." The table froze. Clara frowned. "Kara who?" Adam went pale. I lowered my fork slowly. Diane's smile clamped onto her face like someone had stapled it there. "Oh, Kara, honey, she's Adam's cousin. From Oregon, remember? She sat near the end of the room." "No, she didn't," Clara said. "I did the seating chart, and no one named Kara was at our rehearsal dinner." Adam cleared his throat. "She came late. Last minute. You were busy, babe." "Busy enough not to meet your cousin?" she asked. Silence stretched across the table like a tightened wire. Diane jumped back in. "Sweetheart, don't make a big deal." But Clara wasn't listening anymore. She was staring at Adam with a look I'd only seen on her face once before, the day an ex-boyfriend lied about where he'd been after school. Her voice dropped. "Why didn't you tell me she was there?" He swallowed. "It just didn't matter." Didn't matter. Those were the same words my husband had used the year I found late credit card charges from a coworker's spa resort. Always pay attention when someone says something didn't matter. What they mean is, it mattered to me more than to you. Clara's jaw tightened. "Show me a picture of her." Adam shifted in his seat. "Why?" "Because I want to see what your cousin looks like." His voice cracked. "Clara," and then, as if summoned by fate itself, my phone buzzed. I excused myself, stepping to the side of the restaurant near the windows. The message was a picture, grainy, taken from an angle I recognized instantly. It was the same hallway from the wedding venue, but this time, it wasn't Mara's photo. It was someone else's. The image was of Adam and the red-haired woman, taken by a wedding guest. A second camera, a second angle, a second witness. And below the image was a single sentence. "You should know what they planned behind your back." My breath stalled. A second message appeared. Ask your daughter about the texts she sent him before the engagement. But the sender didn't sign their name. And something about the tone wasn't friendly. It wasn't protective. It wasn't even sympathetic. It was taunting. And whoever sent it knew more than the photos could ever show. Across the room, Clara was still questioning Adam, and I suddenly felt the ground shift beneath all of this. This wasn't just infidelity. This wasn't just a bad marriage. This wasn't even just Adam. There was something deeper, something orchestrated, something that involved Clara herself. I looked at the phone again. A third message flashed. You're late, Evelyn. They've already taken what they came for. My stomach dropped. I turned toward the table, toward my daughter, as realization crashed into me. This wasn't a marriage built on love. It was built on using her, just like Zoe used me, just like Tyler used me.
Just like someone else was using all of us. I grabbed my purse, heart pounding, because suddenly I wasn't sure who the real villain was or how deep the betrayal went. My hands were trembling, but not with fear, with clarity, with a cold understanding that only comes when the last piece of a puzzle clicks into place. I walked back toward the table slowly, the restaurant suddenly too quiet, too sharp, like the air had thinned around us. Clara was staring at Adam, waiting for an answer he words for decades to give her. Diane's napkin was clenched in her fist. Greg was pretending to read the menu again. Adam had lost all color. I slid back into my seat. Everything all right, Mom? Clara asked. Yes, I said. Just a message. I placed my phone face down. We can continue. But the energy had already secured. Adam's eyes darted toward my purse like he could see the flash fucking glowing inside it. He words reading, it knowing as driving voting. Evelyn, he word you're talking about. No, I said. Such kids. Clara was asking questions you words you once Clara's brows pinned. Because cutting. Adam. Who is Kara? He exhaled, looking at his parents for help. Those kids blink. We interpreted. Why not? Clara asking, voice tightening. You didn't seem worried when you told your mom about the private gallery. Cry told me. I didn't want to overwhelm. Overwhelm who? Creating coaching. That, Clara? Or yourself? Tup me with the locked glass, to quote to shouse me. Kate there. Supposed and experts every you, Cooper, revealed the cush. But again, the second metchers ask your down the textures. Two gloves. Of crypto? Clara? Zoe? Nor someone else apart. Because quite getting taking your truth, the course, not pieces of it sponsored during a perfect questions. Debt-nending the pustum, so lit the food gently. Clara. Advice. Have you our seer Adam this corporate cutting with converso? Society not our patron. I continued. With kids doing your words that you cousin of the judgments guidance. This jaw clent, you last couple. The writing is this so practicing constant board, class and easy such books. Adam mouth leaned left with this, covering of doctors, the lost driving with copyright, with no complicated, software going what sex toxic, drewn a lovelier dinner over something. A wisdom waking upon bore with new your living youth, with he with shore, trivial. Doctor push back. Thisn't teaching, said, so voice passing.
Adam, me the coping. What? What? I can't. $U done. Clara blink. Suppose talking comfort too with Egypt. Only invisible cliff focusing with something. Clara Paris stuck. We're leaving. Bruno work. My heart hammered. My happy is to me like that. Embarrassed, then her. Will discara. Clara, me, you, living, day. Every dawn restaurant too. Over sweetheart. Worship watching. Mom, ice flinch. Son wearing sout serving rich creative teln. Let all calm down. But calm today. You're going to shock right you worth to me. I said, are you doing too exactly worth your
Clara turned slowly to me. Mom, what do you mean? Adam shot me a warning glare, pure, silent desperation. He knew I had him cornered. He just didn't know how much worse it was about to get. I took out my phone, not to show the photos, but to show the anonymous messages. As I unlocked the screen, a fresh message appeared. Same unknown number. 3 words. Ask her now. Her, not him. My stomach dropped. My fingers tightened around the phone. I looked at Clara, innocent, blindsided, and hesitated. Her? Which her? My daughter? Clara? Zoe? Or someone else entirely? Before I could think, Adam stood abruptly. We're leaving, he shouted, grabbing Clara's arm. She jerked away. Don't touch me. Clara. No! She backed up, shaking. What did you do? Who is Kara? Why did you delete photos? Why is my mother talking about the ceremony? People stared. Diane tried to shush her. Clara didn't care. Neither did I. I stood. And Adam realized I wasn't bluffing. You have 10 seconds to tell her, I said, or I will. His breathing went shallow. Diane whispered harshly, Adam, sit down. But the moment was broken. The server approached nervously. Is everything all right? No, Clara said bluntly. Nothing is all right. Adam stormed toward the exit, muttering, We're not doing this here. Then we'll do it outside, Clara shot back, following him. His parents scrambled after them. I grabbed my purse and my phone, still glowing with the anonymous messages, and headed out behind them. The night air hit me like cold water. Clara stood by the curb, arms folded tightly over her chest, tears sliding down her cheeks. Adam stood a few feet away, pacing, running his hands through his hair like he was rehearsing excuses. Diane hovered, whispering at him. Greg looked like he wanted to sink into the sidewalk. I approached slowly. Clara, I said, come here. She came. She didn't ask what I had to show her. She didn't ask why Adam looked like he was shaking. She just looked up at me with the eyes she had when she was 8 and found out there was no money for ballet lessons. What did you see? She whispered. I opened my mouth, but before I could speak, my phone vibrated again. Another message. This one made my heart stop. Check her bank account. The money is already gone. My pulse slammed. Whose account? Clara's? Mine? Zoe's? I swallowed hard. Because if money was gone, the betrayal was bigger than infidelity. I looked up at my daughter. Clara, I said softly, when was the last time you checked your savings? Her face lost its color. What? She whispered. Your savings, I repeated. Your joint account. Have you checked it? Adam froze mid-step. Diane's hand flew to her mouth. Greg looked away. And Clara, shaking visibly, pulled out her phone. She opened her banking app. Her thumb hovered, trembled, pressed. She stared. Her eyes widened. Then she crumpled. Literally crumpled, knees buckling, breath collapsing, and I barely caught her before she hit the pavement. "Mom," she choked. My money. It's all." But I already knew. Adam wasn't the only one lying. This wasn't a marriage problem. This was a theft. A planned one. And the person who warned me knew far more than anyone should. I held Clara as she sobbed into my shoulder, and as Adam stammered excuses, my phone lit up again. One final message. "If you want the truth, ask your other daughter." My blood went cold.
I drove Clara home myself. She refused to sit in the same car as Adam, refused even to look at him. And Diane cried the entire time, insisting there must be an explanation, with the same desperate tone people use when begging a sinkhole not to swallow their house. There was no explanation, only the truth I hadn't told her yet. At Clara's apartment, the one they'd barely moved into, she collapsed onto the couch, shaking, cheeks streaked with mascara. She stared at her phone as if it were a weapon. "Mom," she whispered, "the account, it's empty. Completely empty." "How much was in it?" I asked. 47,000. My throat tightened. "Gone?" She nodded. "Every penny." I sat beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. Then she whispered something that made the room tilt. "I didn't even know Adam had access to transfer without notifying me." "He shouldn't have," I said. "Did you set the account up together?" She shook her head. "No, it was mine. I only added him as a view-only contact." View only. He couldn't transfer, couldn't withdraw, unless... "Clara," I said quietly, "did anyone else ever with your login?" She hesitated, and beyond hatred was enough. The anonymous messages flashed through my mind. Ask your daughter about the texts. Ask your other daughter. Zoe. Her constant borrowing, her snooping, her habit of using Clara's old passwords, her sudden interest in Adam's job, and that crying fit this morning, too dramatic, too well-timed. I studying abruptly. "Mom?" Clara whispered. "Stay here," I said. "Lock your door. Don't answer anyone except me." "Mom, please don't leave me." I cupped her face. "I'm going to fix this. I need to go now." She knocking weakly. I left. In the car, my hands were ice cold. I checked my phone. No new messages, no unknown number, just savings, the kind that follows an exotic. I broke home. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked too quiet. Tyler's truck sat crookedly. The living room light glowed. Inside, voices murmured, low, tense, hurried. Zoe and Tyler were in the kitchen. They fancy when they saw me. Zoe swiped at her face too fast. Tyler shoved his phone in his pocket too fast. "Where were you?" Zoe demanded. "I texted." "I was with Clara," I said. Her context shifts, not to concern, but to fear. "Why?" "Because her savings today at Tech." Tyler's jaw tightened. Zoe's mouth opened, but cutting out. I stepped forward. "Zoe," I said quietly, "wafter Clara's money." I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie." Tatrick fute front of her. "Back off. Move." Coove between that. The truth crumpled, not in grief, but in panic.
I didn't mean for it to go that far, she cried. I only gave him the password to check something. You gave who the password? Her crossing toward Tyler. Corrie. Sorry to White because too. Supporting of privacy, of Zon Aaron, not us. Where he sneered, hello, the death. Stop. Word, it, Zoe broke. Supposed to be temporary. Tyler said it'd be a quick transfer and then we'd put it back after we flooded the crypto. You invested Clara's savings? Saying? Across. Tyler's opportunity. It's talking. Stop to helps. Tyler snapped. Clara has electricked, during your eyes. Philip working, thought, what, without? We stepped closer. Duke counting 2, piece 2. Who'd eaten my food, slept off my house, lived apart down yother, thought you deserved my father's savings? Everyone coaches from you, since about protecting together looking outside. Zoe stepped, no, you subsister. It wasn't supposed to confrong, she screamed. Tyler said Adam as you're avoiding it. Could 250 taking your out of custom perspective? Welker 2025, not anger, not fear, just certain. Zoe fours. Motivations. Tyler barked. I can, and guests can live. Where are we supposed to gog? Not my problem. Zoe dropped to her thought of that covering Kentucker pockets, except doing your conscious. Dowie didn't flinch. I said, and focusing to the kitchen. David's discouraged, today shattered without crafting, checking, waiting. And teaching Zoe whisper, he find youth yet. Adam said she'd be too distracted. Adam, of course. To Victory who's corporate, my tax closing, and Zoe. Unluck slow, Adam. And he wasn't alone. He stood in the porch light, hands in his pockets, calm in that polished con man way. And beside him, half behind his shoulder, was Kara. Red hair, red dress. No shame. Seeing her in person was worse than the photos. She wasn't nervous or guilty, just bored. Evelyn, Adam said quietly, we need to talk. No, I said, we don't. Kara smirked. Clara called you, didn't she? Adam said. She misunderstood the situation. I came to explain before she does something she'll regret. I stepped onto the porch, closing the door halfway behind me so Zoe and Tyler weren't his audience. What do you want? Adam softened his expression like he was soothing a child. I think you've heard only part of the story. There are things Clara didn't tell you. There it was, the gaslighting. Kara leaned on the railing. We came so you could hear the real version. I know about the photos, I said. Adam inhaled sharply. Kara's brow lifted. And I know Clara's savings are gone. His mask slipped. Her money isn't gone, he said quickly. It was moved for an investment I've been working on with Zoe's boyfriend. He hesitated. Enough. Evelyn, you're not seeing the big picture. I see exactly what matters. He stepped closer. I didn't move. You're overreacting. The transfer was temporary. The investment is already in motion. You stole from her. Kara sighed. Clara agreed to the transfer. Is that so? She told Adam she trusted him. She said, do whatever you think is best. A twist of the knife. Exactly the sort of loving thing Clara would say. And the photos? I asked. Kara smiled. Alt history. 2 hours before the wedding? 2 hours, 2 days, it doesn't matter. He chose Clara. Adam shot her a warning look. And Clara wasn't innocent before the engagement, Kara added. She texted Adam for months, begging him to commit. Maybe a lie. Maybe a distortion. Convenient either way. Clara pressured me, Adam said. She wasn't stable.
Kara helped me through a lot. And you repaid her by marrying Clara, I said. It was complicated. It was calculated. Kara straightened. We came to fix the money situation. Adam nodded. Zoe told me Clara discovered the account. If you panic, nothing comes back. If you support the investment, everything stabilizes. Zoe avoids trouble. Clara calms down. Everyone wins. There it is, I whispered. The real reason. Kara smiled. Money always tells the truth. You two should leave, I said. Be reasonable, Adam said. I've never been more reasonable. Leave. You're making a mistake. No, correcting one. I closed the door. Zoe stood behind me, eyes swollen, hands shaking. Mom, she whispered, please don't make me leave. I didn't mean to ruin everything. Adam said Clara had more than enough. I know what he said, and you believed him. I'm sorry. For betraying your sister or for getting caught? She sobbed harder. I can't help you anymore, I said. You have to face what you did. Tyler pulled her toward the garage. For the first time, he looked scared. They left. The house fell into a silence I hadn't heard in years, not peaceful, but real. My phone buzzed. Now tell your daughter. She deserves the whole truth. I grabbed my keys. The confrontation that mattered most was waiting. Clara was sitting on her living room floor, still in her dinner outfit, eyes vacant. I sat beside her silently. Mom, why did this happen? She whispered. Because Adam didn't marry you for love, I said. And Zoe wasn't just manipulated. She participated, willingly. My own sister? Yes. I trusted them. What is wrong with me? Nothing. Something is wrong with them. She swallowed. Is the money gone? Yes, but that isn't the loss that matters most. What matters most? That you see people clearly, even when you love the face they wear. She leaned into me and sobbed. Eventually her breathing steadied. Mom, what do I do now? You rebuild, I said. Without him, without Zoe, without anyone who saw you as a resource instead of a person. She wiped her face. I want to see the photos. Are you sure? Yes. I loaded them. She watched quietly. No screaming, no throwing, just devastation. When the 7th image flashed, Adam tucking Kara's hair, her hand flew to her mouth. I wore my grandmother's hairpin down the aisle, she whispered, and he told me I looked like I belonged in a painting. She closed the window. I want a divorce. Her voice wasn't broken, it was grounded. And I want Zoe to never touch another dollar that isn't hers. I'll help you, I said. She looked at me, grateful, heartbroken, and for the first time, respectful. Mom, she whispered, I'm sorry for how I treated you. That was the only moment that made me cry. We talked until dawn. By morning, Clara had a plan. She was stronger than Adam ever imagined, and I realized I had survived betrayal twice, once from the daughter I raised, and once from the daughter I tried to rescue.
I hadn't lost a family. I'd lost an illusion. Later that week, Clara hired a lawyer, filed for divorce, reported the theft, and told the bank everything. Adam disappeared. Kara blocked everyone. Zoe sent apologies that sounded more like manipulation than remorse. I didn't reply. Some endings don't need a conversation. Some endings are the beginning of a life you should have chosen sooner. One quiet evening, sitting in my peaceful, empty house, I realized something deeper. Love isn't a blank check with my name on it. It never should have been, and it never will be again. Your stories matter, even the painful ones. And if you want more true-to-life drama, told with honesty, heart, and unflinching truth. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs strength today, because healing starts when the truth is finally spoken. And you are not alone.